James Lockerbie and Rebecca McAleese, and we're here to talk today about the fact that, yes, it appears that the 9/11 Saves Act has died on the vine, as they say, at the closing of the 117th Congress. But we're here to try to pump you up and give you ideas as to how to hit the ground running in 2023 for the 118th Congress. So, Rebecca here, she has developed the map that our page has shared often. I want to bring that up and we'll discuss that with everyone. As soon as I find it.
James is working on getting that up. I just want to encourage you guys, to start thinking about what you can do as we look at the maps and we see who's still in the gray. So this is the mapping, because as you can see, Texas is already green, and I believe they were September 1st. I want to say it was 2019.
That the bill passed. It went into effect on January 1 of 2020.
Okay.
So this is 2020, and then we scoot up. Sorry, Rebecca. There you go.
No, you're right. And then this is the most current map. I believe this is all current legislations and stuff that are in progress or have passed. Hopefully this all makes sense. Obviously, we've got the legend down there at the lower right. The green is everyone that has passed, or that, by the way, our interpretation of reading the bills, they've passed. Purple, there's a couple of counties within those states that have passed. So they're working on a county by county level. So they're in the running of becoming a green state. Yellows are PTSD bills. Blues, we'll probably need to readdress those blue states because being at the end of legislative sessions, those bills may have died, but they at least had a bill on the table during the last sessions that were in progress for those states.
Exactly.
So we've made a lot of progress in 4 years, you guys. So don't let this get discouraged. Don't get yourself discouraged that we have still not gotten the national level. I think we've made a lot of noise the last 4 years. People are starting to pay attention, and we just need to keep that momentum going once Congress comes back into session after the winter break. I believe they'll be back in session by the end of January.
Absolutely. That's exactly right, and a very good summation as to where we have been and where we are now. And I'd just like to put out an open invitation from our members. If you are part of or have any knowledge of how you traversed your legislative journey in the state of Maryland, New York, New Hampshire, Louisiana, Alabama, and or Illinois, we'd like to hear from you, because as you know, we have a YouTube page. Dispatchers is part of First Responders YouTube page. We've shared the link several times, and we'll do that again in the near future. We've spoken to dispatchers and 911 professionals throughout the country from the green states that have gone through the process, and we asked them what worked, what potholes they ran into during their experience. And so we want to encourage everyone to go back and review those videos, but we'd also like to hear from the states that I just listed, to hear what your experiences were like, what concessions you were willing to give up, and who did you find were allies in support of your activities. And then Rebecca and I also would like to hear from all those members from those gray states. What's going on? Give us an idea if you have a bill that you're going to present for the upcoming session. And we'd love to hear from you on that.
The other thing I kind of was just thinking about is Now is the time to get to do your research. While Congress is in their recess for the winter, start doing your research. Go to your not only your state legislation pages, both, well, I should not restrict that to just state, but your state and your national legislature pages. See who, to see if it was the same person is staying in office or if there was a change. Start drafting up your letters, do some research on your legislatures, try to find someone who already supports police, fire, other first responders, and try to pull them in on your side to make them realize that this is that we too are first responders and we play an integral role in getting the field responders to those locations. And I mean, I don't have to explain our jobs. We all know our jobs and what we all do. But there was an interesting article posted yesterday on a couple of pages. I think it was USA Today.
Yes.
Put out was it the top 10 or
Top 10
100?
most stressful jobs.
Yeah. And 911 dispatchers came in at number 8. A little shocking because we were behind a couple of professions that you wouldn't really think were quite as stressful.
I don't think it's a very accurate one, but I agree with you. I think that's a conversation starter. It's a very good.
Exactly.
But I would argue the accuracy.
Yes.
like you said.
And then to put a plug in for a friend of ours that we met in Anaheim, Mr. Conrad Weaver, who developed the PTSD movie that has already premiered this fall. There's more premiere dates coming out in 2023. So if you don't know about that, he has included 911 dispatchers in the movie on what some of the stresses that they go through and how PTSD has affected some dispatchers in his movie. So go to his Facebook pages and other social media outlets and see if it's showing in your area and or get information of how to get that movie to your area to open up people's minds and eyes, and that
yes, that's
real
great,
amongst all levels.
That's a great point, Rebecca. And I actually because I was a donor to the movie, I was actually in a private Zoom screening of the film, and that is a great media. Here's their Facebook group page that I'm displaying right now. PTSD -911 movie. It talks about post-traumatic stress amongst the first responder community and how even dispatchers are affected by it. It was an excellent movie. It followed a dispatcher who's spent her career, most of her career before leaving the profession in Boston. So you want to look out to that. And the let's see here. The web address is ptsd911movie.com for more information on that. Excellent film. And a great way to point out to your legislators and other potential allies as to why it's so important that we get recognized.
Recognize the national level and the James, remind me, I always forget who it is.
OMB, Office of Management and Budget.
Yes, thank you. And we need to get them to change our national level classification code to show that we do more than just desk work and office work.
That's right.
Once we get that reclassification, then we can start the steps of, hey, we're now first responders, so we need to be included in the PTSD coverage that police and firefighters get, and or hospital staff. We need to be included in better retirement benefits, better training and education. Because just like, officers go to the range and do, all sorts of training to strengthen their skills. Firefighters go out and they practice on vacant buildings and
Well,
whatever.
I think that's what's so important about this, and it's the change in mindset of
Yes.
the individuals who actually make the decisions about the kind of training we get, the resources. I mean, like, how sad is it that it's like going on 15 years that we've been begging for next gen 911 funding? So you want to avoid the whole, we want to get better pay, we want earlier retirement. That is the easiest and quickest way to kill your attempts to try to get this recognition and to get and at the national level to get the reclassification. Rebecca's bringing up a very good point on that. What the whole purpose is, and all the conversations that I've had with the members of Congress that I met last year at 911 Goes to Washington, is we need this classification because we haven't been given the proper resources as far as the training and the technology to be able to do our jobs the way the community expects us and the way we want to be able to provide those services to our communities. When we're still using 911 that's based on copper wire from the 60s, when the 911 system was first created, in 2020, now it'll be 2023. Like, that's ridiculous. So the conversations that you want to have with your state legislators, with your the national, your members of Congress and your county legislators, is we want this recognition. We need this reclassification of being recognized as a public, a protective service occupation, so that we can actually do the job the right way and the way the community expects us.
Correct.
And we no longer
Correct.
want families that have experienced tragedies to have to form a foundation in order to get dispatchers appropriate training, or to solve a loophole or a technological deficiency in the 911 system, because we weren't giving it the proper attention. We weren't giving the 911 system the proper attention. So now this poor family has lost a loved one. Instead of, tip of the hat, and kudos to them for, not collapsing and not doing anything. Like, they found the courage and the stamina and the energy to take the passion and their love for their loved one, and then to put that energy into good use, into getting us into more attention, and to get us more training, and to fix those errors. But what we're trying to say is, like, we don't want any more people that have to go through that.
Yes,
members
exactly.
members of the federal government, state agencies, county governments, state governments, local city municipal governments should be providing these trainings and the technology and the funding necessary to run 911 in today's world. And so if you fight that fight, all the other things that a lot of individuals here, what Rebecca and I, what we're starting this conversation about, all those other things that you guys are concerned about, I think will come with that down the road.
Yep.
But
Yes.
you want to steer away from talking about that. What you do is you talk about these things that Rebecca and I are talking about, and let those other things take care of themselves.
Yes. And if you're not sure how to go about trying to set up a meeting once everyone comes back into office after the winter break, just simply reach out to them. Phone calls, emails, letters. Asking for a meeting. Include a couple of talking points in your letter about what you want to talk to them about, so that they can start doing some research But look for other dates. 911 go to Washington that Jim tries to go to, or James tries to go to in second week of February, I think it is, that Nina puts on. That's a
Yeah, it's
great
actually
way
gonna
to
be.
go and try to talk to some of your national legislatures. I know in Wisconsin in March, we have a lobby day to go talk to our state representatives. So reach out to your fire and police unions and see if they have a lobby day for your state.
That's awesome advice. And I would say keep your eyes open for any opportunity that you could go to talk about it. Yeah, I mean, I just made the sign behind me and drove down to DC, took some pictures, and used social media. I took pictures by the Capitol building out front of the White House on in Lafayette Square. Get creative. Think of ways that you can use some event that's local to promote either your state bill or to talk about a county proclamation. Let's not forget, Jim Brown, the creator of the page, and the people of West Virginia, how they started going county to county, collecting those proclamations and then taking it to the state house. If your state's not blue or green, that's where to start. That's a great way to start, is reaching out to your county leaders and asking for a proclamation, and then go and then build that from there. The other thing I want to talk about is you don't have to go to Washington, D.C. to talk to your members of Congress. For me, it's only an hour and 45 minutes on a train down to DC. It's a 2.5, 3 hour drive down to DC. You're living out in Arizona, you're in Nevada, South Dakota, that's pretty hard to make your way to the Capitol. What you can do is each member of Congress has a local district office. If you go to congress.gov and other websites like it, you can look at the schedule and pick out a week that they're going to be home when both chambers have different times where they take a week off here, a week off there. You see that Congress is not in session. That would be a perfect time to schedule an appointment at the local office to get some one-on-one time with a staffer or your member to talk about the 911 Saves Act and the other important bills like the Protect 911 bill, which is for mental health access and training, and of course the Next Gen 911, because it looks like if the next 10 days or so the funding doesn't get in the Senate side of that bill, that's not going to happen either. So we're talking $15 billion to upgrade the country's 911 system. So looks like we're going to be working on that too next year. So, but this is a pump up, rah. Let's get out and get to work on this. We're both here, and please reach out to us if you have any questions. And we want to hear what's going on in your state, in your local neck of the woods, as they say.
For those of you that are APCO and or NINA members, go to their government pages, see what they've got sample letters out. We've got a sample letter in our file section. If you're not, sure how to start that letter, take a look. You're more than welcome to use that letter that we posted in there. And just obviously change your, add your name and change, add your legislatures, elected officials' names and address to it. Use it as a starting point. Be like, oh, okay, yeah, I can say that, or I'm going to change it a little bit. Whatever you feel is most appropriate for your area.
Yeah, it's in our file section, and that's a great point. You can either take it and just edit it a little bit, or you can just read over it and then take some notes and then create an entire new letter. Either whatever you feel more comfortable with, and whatever you feel is more appropriate. But the idea of participating, that's what we need. That's what it's going to take. Some of the other first responder communities have lobbyists. They have national unions. So there's people that are helping them get stuff through Congress. I've seen a dozen bills come into Congress and go out as a law over the last 3 years. And that's because they have a lot of support and a lot a lot of resources that our industry, unfortunately, might not have, well, we don't have that access. So we have to be our own best lobbyists. Let's lobby on behalf of our profession. And I think we have been. I think Ricardo's I Am Not On hashtag movement and other individuals in the Not On atmosphere, and this page here and others like it, we are changing the tide of, it's like the movie Dirty Dancing, when Patrick Swayze comes in and like, no one's putting baby in the corner or whatever. Like, it's like we're saying dispatch has been in the corner, and we're not letting dispatch get put in the corner no more.
Yep, exactly.
Awesome. I would just suspect that the bill should be reintroduced in the next Congress. And it could be as early as mid-January, or I know last session it was April 1st, and I actually got a little concerned. I thought it was April 1st joke, but it wasn't. That just happened to be the day that the process works, and that's when they were able to get it into onto the books. So if you recall, in the 116th session, it was 1629. This session that's about to end, it's 2351. Look for a new bill number, and whenever you're talking to a member of Congress or their staff, you want to reference the bill number. So again, I refer you to congress.gov, and of course, I'm sure as soon as I find it, or Rebecca sees it, either whoever.
Yep, one of us will post the new information as soon as it's there.
That's right. We'll share that. So come back to the page, get the bill number, and then get to work. The whole thing is, the first session we got 139 co-sponsors, and I think it took almost like 16 months to get that far.
Yeah.
So, and the session's only 24 months long, so that took way too long. And now this session, believe it or not, we got a co-sponsor today, a new tech co-sponsor from Texas. So we're up to 129. But again, we're talking 2 weeks away from the end of this session. So co-sponsorship is important. It's how members show how much support they have towards their bill. So as soon as this comes out, we have to get to work on trying to secure as many of our co-sponsors from our states as possible. In fact, we should probably have some kind of competition to see which state can get the most co-sponsors as early as possible in this next session. The other thing is, if they try to do another legislative tool, like trying to get it into a larger bill, like the National Defense Authorization Act again, if it passes one of the houses, then we need to maybe transition from worrying about co-sponsors and go towards focusing our efforts on the house that still has to pass the bill, and focus all of our correspondence with members in that chamber of Congress. And of course, we'll definitely revisit that, later. So right now, what we want to stress is co-sponsorship. Get as many of your members of Congress to agree to be a co-sponsor as soon as that bill gets introduced, because 128, 139, those numbers sound big, but they're really pretty small when you consider that there's 135 members of Congress or in the House. That's just the House. Okay. So, and I understand that in the Senate, they don't really co-sponsor quite so much. There's only 15 co-sponsors out of 50 senators right now for the Senate version.
Senators.
Yeah. So, yeah, again, Rebecca and I were here to try to pump you guys up, encourage you to get involved. If you already have been involved, we encourage you to, keep working on it. Don't give up. We got to be our own lobbyists. We have nobody else really fighting for us, with the exception of, obviously the two national organizations, NINA and APCO. They are working on it, but they can get all they need. They could use the help, and we should be helping them. That's our, that's part of being a member, if you're a member. And if you're not, I encourage you to join one or both of them.
Yes. Yes, and we're kind of trying to get your fire and police organizations supporting you guys as well. The fire and police union agencies, they know who to talk to on the state, especially on the state level. I mean, I've learned so many tricks from talking with my unions this last year, and I have their support already. And I have more meetings coming up of, what can we do in this new year, as soon as they come back into into session, and who should we start talking to, and what do we need to do to try to get Wisconsin to turn green.
Yes, that's awesome. And I've actually been not talking to, but I've been in touch through correspondence with the International Association of Chiefs of Police president of their association, and he's advising me to reach out to the legislative team that talks about what bills they're gonna try to champion in the upcoming Congress, and they'll be taking a vote on what bills they're gonna support in February. So now would be a great time to try to have face-to-face meetings, or email, or the leadership of your state police chiefs association to try to get the state of Idaho's Chiefs of Police Association to reach out to the National Association, the IACP, and voice their support for our bill. That's what we can. These are the things that we can be working on now as we wait for the new session to start.
I think that for the most part, just wraps it up. Just know, you guys, we're here for you guys. Drop us a message, drop us an email, or I think most of us, you got to at least start with a message, and then if we need to switch over to email, we can switch over to email, or phone call. I'm more than willing to share either one of them with anyone if you need to talk more about it. We're here for you guys, and to help. But just know we can't do it alone. We need your guys' help, especially to go state by state, because another state's not going to listen to me if I don't live in the state. They want to hear from people that live within the state, and they want to live with or hear from people within their congressional districts, not someone from necessarily next door.
Exactly. That is an excellent point. Yeah, if I want to reach out to a senator from Arizona, he's going to laugh at me from all the way here from New Jersey. You definitely need to speak up to talk to your reps and your senators, because they want to hear from you, and I think they'll take it a lot further coming from you than from anyone else, even other professional associations. They really want to hear from their constituents. And Rebecca and I, we should talk about real quick. It doesn't have to be all facts and figures. Try to blend in some of your personal experiences on the job, but it can't be all personal experiences into facts and figures. So you want to blend the two as you're talking to the staff members and or the members themselves. And again, don't be discouraged if you're talking to a staffer. They're the people doing all the work in the office.
Yep, exactly. Let them know what your call volume is like. If you're able to get some statistics of how many calls you guys did in 2022, compare that to what you did in 2021. Did you guys have an increase in services? Was it pretty much the same? Did you guys implement some new program in your system? I know a lot of centers are adding the additional like GPS trackers, things with like rapid SOS, rapid deploy, all those kinds of systems out there. Did you guys start using one of those? That it's not that it is necessarily more complicated in our jobs. it helps refine what information is available to us. And especially when you get those open calls and you just don't know what's going on. And, you know, and I think some of those programs, if the citizen is registered with them, it might tell you that, oh, there's diabetics there, there's cardiac history there, or maybe you have a history of domestic abuse there, and that's why you have an open line, because that was all they could do, was enough to call 911 and put the phone down. And now they're in a back room where you can't really hear them. You know, use the tools that you have available within your centers
And the
to
experiences, like success
explain.
stories, things that worked.
Yes,
Here's a call,
yes,
look how it unfolded, and here's example of how we're first responders, and we're not just secretaries shuffling papers on our desk. Like, the dispatcher that helped with deliver a child, another one, cardiac arrest, CPR in progress call. And between your work, whether you got a heartbeat going before the first paramedic arrived, or between what you were doing plus the paramedics in the field and the doctors in the ER, that person survived, and you got to save. Share that information, share those experiences at all levels of government. Even again, local government, county government, state government. Share with everyone. This is what's happening every day across America. This is what's happening in your district, and this is why we deserve to be classified in the appropriate classification of a protective service, because that's what we're doing. We're providing a protective service. We're protecting our communities. We're not shuffling paperwork.
correct.
And with that, go get to work. I'm sure we'll be reaching out and having some more videos in the near future. Again, the individuals, if you were involved in your state's successful campaign to be recognized as first responders, or whatever your state calls that type of work, please reach out to us so that we can talk to you and share with our members the good and the bad of your experience.
Sounds good.
All right.
Again, we're here if you guys need us.
Let's talk to you soon.
See ya.
All right.